Okay, Monday, February 19th, 2024. I'm heading to the gym because after the gym I have to go metro and hurry home, and sometimes, time is a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes the wife needs me at home. The baby is crying a lot or needs attention and needs help. Our baby is, for 6 weeks, moving around a lot. She's pushing herself with her legs already, and usually I was expecting her to lay on her back more and, need our help. But, and when we put her on her stomach, she's already almost got crawling figured out. She's not strong enough, but she has the position right. So I imagine as she adds weight and the strength builds up, she's going to be, I might have to take some time off work, because you got to have all eyes, it's like, it's really a lot. Like I tell people, you should do this when you're young. You have to dig deep, and really it's about keeping focus. You have to really prioritize, put down whatever you're doing, and when the lights start flashing, right? You have all these like warning indicators, like in an airplane or something, and you have to immediately prioritize. Okay, go and work down your list and just drop whatever you're doing. Like if you're in the middle of reading an article or doing something at work, you just have to excuse yourself from a meeting. It's just the way it is. Now, we were thinking about nannies and housekeepers and everything, but we haven't got the vaccines yet, so we don't want to bring any people into the house yet, unless absolutely necessary. Like, we go to the doctor's office, and that's where we take some calculated risks. But normally with babies, there's like 6 or 8 vaccines you get over the course of the first 6 months. So there's like, I think we got tuberculosis in the hospital, and they didn't have hepatitis. Either you get hepatitis right in the first few hours, but it wasn't available. So then you have to wait till 2 months. And there's a 6-in-1 vaccine, which is like hepatitis, polio, diphtheria. It's like the main 6 things that used to kill us, 100 years ago. So they have like a 6-in-1, and then there's 2 companies that make it, GlaxoSmithKline and Sanofi. These are both big pharma companies. I think Sanofi has partnered with Merck, if I'm not mistaken, like a giant Swiss company, and GlaxoSmithKline is English. So these are like big companies like Pfizer or Eli Lilly that produce these things. On that front, everything is okay. I'm keeping up with the gym routines. It's quite good. Got quite a good routine. I have to watch where I'm going. I'm walking in the middle of the road here. The other day the car was honking at me, but the sidewalk is too close to the traffic there and ruined the sound quality, me being a famous blogger and all. I'd like to thank you people who started following me. I'm up to 286 followers. I think a couple of months ago I was barely at 100. So there's some traction. Some people are interested in just raw, day-to-day, unproduced, unscripted blogging. So what else I wanted to talk about? So we saw Trump, get hit with a lawsuit, $350 million banned from New York. I personally, I want to talk about Trump, Tucker Carlson, and Taylor Swift today, more on that, but and have some counterpoints here. I think that lawsuit's going to get thrown out. I was looking at the merits, and it was a single judge without a jury. So it'll go to appeal, and I think it's going to get reversed. And sports betting in England backs that. The sports betting polls show Trump is 10 points ahead. And that message, that's a message to the Democrats that they've got to do something. They've got to fix their strategy. They got to fix the border. They've got to take a little bit more conservative points of view, towards like American education, American patriotism, and I don't even think they have to really, in all honesty, do the second thing. If they would just fix the border, because they have a lot of things they can claim on the economy. Stock market's at a record high, job market's very strong, inflation is cooling. I mean, it's still up there, but I was looking through the inflation numbers, and it's mostly like restaurants, rent, and things like that. I mean, even like car rentals and gasoline and everything is under control. So, as I've made an argument with people, is if you move to a smaller town, if you can get remote work, or just find a job like in North Carolina and Delaware, or if you're living in New York and you move to Philadelphia, it's I think you can have a better life and beat the inflation, and just change your lifestyle habits a bit, walk a bit more, eat less meat. And there's nothing wrong with eating less meat. I did it myself. I tested it out myself. And I went all the way from a paleo diet. If you would have known me 10 years ago in Norway, I was eating nothing but meat. I was eating like 5 different kinds of meat every day, no vegetables, no potatoes. It didn't last long. I wasn't well. And I've gone to strictly vegetarian. That wasn't good either. So it's always something, like I say, it's like a 75-25 thing or 80-20 thing. So I'm like 80% vegetarian and 20% of my meals are meat, like 3-4 times a week. I've talked about this before. And if you're in your 50s and you're an office worker, mostly working in an office like myself, I think that's adequate. Now, if you're like a Navy SEAL and you're, in combat in a cold place like Norway, or, you've been sent to Siberia to take out, I don't know, some of Putin's guys or something, then yeah, you probably have to eat a lot more meat. So it also depends on your activity level, your daily calorie burn. So, but, okay, so yeah, enough about that. So, yeah, what do we have there? So yeah, Trump, yeah, we just concluded that Trump is probably going to dodge the bullet on the civil suit. And there's a lot of things going wrong in his criminal case, so he might dodge the bullet there. So this is, like I said, they can't count on him. That's not an election strategy to count on your opponent going to jail. That's just not going to happen. In Europe, so Democrats have to either, so they have to find someone like Taylor Swift. That's what we'll come back to that. Now the Tucker Carlson thing. There's been a lot of calls for him to be arrested and, punished and everything for giving that interview. Now, granted, I'm not crazy about that interview, and I feel like it was tainted. I gave my opinion about it, and you can also read in my social media, if you see me on LinkedIn and stuff, what I think about it. But I think that interview should have been done in a neutral country like Turkey or India, or I say Turkey is neutral because they are playing both sides and everything. I mean, even though they're a NATO member. But let's say Tucker Carlson met India, would probably be a better neutral country, better than even South Africa. South Africa is also kind of wishy-washy. It's too far away, but Putin could get to India pretty easily, to New Delhi or Bombay, and so could Tucker Carlson. And if they would have done that interview in a neutral place where Tucker Carlson could ask real questions without fearing for his life, maybe it would be real. It would be a real interview. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with interviewing, I think, people like him. But you have to actually really interview him, not to suck him off like Tucker Carlson did. So that's my only real criticism. I mean, you had Peter Bergen interview bin Laden between the embassy bombings in Africa, in Kenya and Tanzania, and 9/11. And he went to bin Laden's cave. But he didn't softball bin Laden. He sort of did. But, this was before bin Laden became like a #1 wanted man in the world. So he kind of discovered bin Laden and revealed him, and he got an award for that. But his questions were more pointed, I would say. I remember watching that interview, and it was revealing. And it did, like I said, it changed the perspective that this guy is a real bad guy, and he's like a son of a billionaire and using all his resources instead of going out and having a good time like most sons of billionaires do. He was actually had a real conviction, and it was really scary, you know. But you know what Carlson did, he went on Putin's home turf, and it's already known that like anyone that opposes Putin, or you know, they just all get food poisoning. I mean, look at Navalny, and now this other candidate, there was another opposition candidate, he's been banned from running, the anti-war guy. And Carlson just only asked one softball question about the American journalist, the Wall Street Journal guy who had been jailed. And that was at the end. So, yeah, I think it's tainted. I think if you're going to interview a guy like Putin, you got to do it in New Delhi. You have to, you know, and there has to be like, you know, you can disappear into the crowd pretty easily in India. You know, Carlson can go out one door, Putin out the other door, and there's no way, and you know, with the Indian security and stuff around him, and that way the Russian guys don't track him down and poison him for asking questions about stealing children or killing your opponents, or, you know, all the atrocities in Ukraine. And how does he feel about that? How does he feel about, like, now that the whole world is woken up, the whole Western world is woken up and their whole economies are changing and gearing for war? It's slow, but it's happening. You know, in Norway, they're building a new ammunition and missile factory, and Germany is upping, even like the Germans have been reluctant, are upping their weapons production. And there's more talk now because of Trump, the NATO people pay up, you know, but it's already been happening. I mean, I think now 18 out of the, or something like that, it's improved. So it's already, it's like sailing a large ship. You turn the wheel, and then it takes like a minute before the ship actually starts turning, you know, after you turn the rudder, you know, and you adjust the sails and everything for something to start happening. So all the actions have been put in, and we're going to start seeing the results here in the coming years to, you know, energy, right? For example, they've already stopped taking Russian energy, you know, so it's changing, yeah. So that's enough about Tucker Carlson. And now Taylor Swift. I've been arguing on LinkedIn, Biden ought to make her the vice presidential candidate. I mean, she's about as qualified as Trump, and Trump was president for a term, but at least she would get the votes. She would get the votes, and I think if she was president, she would be smart enough to hire the right advisors, just like Reagan did. I mean, what made Reagan great was the people around him. Reagan delegated. Reagan was the master of delegation. But she's running her business as a celebrity really well. She's outlasted Britney Spears, and you know, she didn't turn, you know, she didn't go down and melt down like Britney Spears did, or any of the other like superstars. So out of superstars, she's like number one. So she has like a strong management skills, you know, which people aren't giving her credit for. And you know, her parents, if you read about Taylor Swift's parents, her dad is like a really well-to-do financial advisor. You know, he's like an asset manager. You know, rich people give him their extra money and he invests it for them. So he also advises Taylor Swift, her father, and she avoided all this crypto mess, you know, like Tom Brady got into and some of the other celebrities. So she has good people around her. So I wouldn't discount it. A lot of people are discounting, like, oh, she's just a pop star. But I think she's a shrewd businesswoman. You know, and I mean, look what she did for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, their merchandising sales and their popularity. I mean, heck, they even won the Super Bowl, but I don't think that's because of her. But their revenues went up, not only because they were playing good football, but because she's bringing attention. So that's what it's going to take for Joe Biden to win. He's got to get Taylor Swift on his team. Maybe not as VP, but he's got to get her some role. You know, that because the Democrats, the only way they're going to win this election is if their voters turn up. And right now, Democratic voters are very apathetic. And that's why Trump is high in the polls. It's not because people switch sides. It's because Trump's side is energized and Biden's side is not energized. And actually, there's quite a few people like me, I come to find out, who are switching sides. I voted for Trump twice, but I'm over it. All this pro-Russia stuff. And I mean, yes, he makes good points about NATO needing to pay up and all of this, but he needs to be clear what his intentions are. And I'm not seeing any clear intentions here. I'm just seeing a lot of gibberish, you know, and this thing with NATO not paying up has been going on for decades, but NATO argues back. I mean, I can tell you what the European arguments are, that they take most of the refugees. America does most of the fighting, and then Europe absorbs most of the refugees. Europe is buying our debt, you know, our treasury bills, and financing our government. You know, we're running, and like I said in the past video, this debt is not really a problem. We're going to outgrow it, but the fact of the matter is people are buying it and supporting us. So, and then a lot of European companies have built factories in America, etc., etc. I mean, Norway has furniture factories in America. There's BMW, Mercedes have factories in Alabama and South Carolina. You know, so it's I don't think it's worth it. I don't think Trump is going to be. He'd just talk a lot and he'd create problems, you know, and really, like I said, the economy is good with Biden. You know, it's a really good economy right now, actually. I mean, if you're not eating at restaurants every day, and, you know, if you're living a 1970s lifestyle, you know, you don't have to live in a 3,000 square foot home when you have kids. People used to raise kids in 1,200 square foot, 120 square meters. I mean, you can't even find 120 square meters here in Ukraine. It's like far and few between apartments like that. A lot of people are raising 2 kids. I got neighbors raising 2 kids in 600 square feet, 650, 700 square foot apartments. And the kids are fine. They're healthy. They're playing. They're outside. It's so small inside. They're outside all the time, running around. So, and it used to be like that in America in the 70s. We used to live in much smaller places. So when you live in a smaller place, you have less heating bills. You have, you know, less overhead costs and more money to save and invest. So, you know, I don't know, people have to read the history a little bit. But it's not so bad. But, you know, Biden's marketing is just, you know, bad. So Taylor Swift could probably wake up those voters, you know, like the way Bill Clinton did. You know, Bill Clinton went on MTV and played the saxophone. And I was in college. I was 21 years old. I was like, heck, I'm voting for that guy. He's cool. You know, he relates to us. He's talking to us through our medium. And it turned out Bill Clinton gave us, you know, the roaring 90s, one of the best economies we ever had. He was even paying down the debt. And he went against all of NATO and against all of Europe and stood up for the people in Kosovo and Albania. He took it to the Serbs and bombed the hell out of the Serbs for 30 days. I mean, pounded them. And now they're even trying to become European Union. And, you know, they're kind of acting up now. You know, they're kind of acting up again. But, you know, if we can keep Biden and company going, I mean, granted, he's an old man. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. But if he can get the right people around him and they can run everything, I think we'll be okay. Because what Trump is going to do is he's going to put all the wrong people around him, you know, and they're going to stop vaccination programs. And then again, child mortality will go up to 50%. He's going to fight with people on Twitter instead of fixing the health care. That was one of the biggest beefs I have with Trump. He said he would fix Obamacare, but instead he starts fighting with plumbers and air conditioner repairmen and football players on Twitter. And he's wasting all the energy. Instead of making global fixes, he's doing very tactical things like, oh, that guy didn't respect the flag. But, you know, that's like too small of a thing for a president to take on. The president needs to take on institutional fixes. And if the system was working right, people wouldn't disrespect the flag. But that is their right. As much as I love America, people have that right of free expression to show that they're not happy. And kneeling when the flag is going up and everything, yeah, it sucks, but it's not really hurting anyone. It's really just signaling that maybe we have to look at our system. We have to fix something. And it's like a symptom, you know, of something brewing underneath. That's how we have to look at it. Not like, oh, let's try to destroy that guy. And he actually made Colin Kaepernick, you know, got richer off of this. His supporters came and rallied behind him. The conservatives like you to think that, oh, he's all washed up and everything. No, he's as rich as ever. He's got good financial planners who, you know, bought AI stocks, you know, took all his wealth and invested it. Good for him, bought real estate. So, and, you know, he's making movies on Netflix and all that kind of thing. You know, I think he was even dating AOC, Cortez, and so he's going to become a political figure. I mean, Trump actually, if he would have just ignored him, he would probably have just been an NFL guy and went and sold cars afterwards, or opened up a car dealership like John Elway did. I mean, he still would have been rich, but not influential. So there's two things, like, yeah, you can be rich, and then there's influential. And the latter is what worries Trump with Taylor Swift, that she has influence. But, if I was the Democrats, I would take that Taylor Swift thing and start putting salt in Trump's wounds, and get her to start, campaigning for Biden and offer her a cabinet position or something, because the Democrat voters are just not, they're just not energized. That's the problem. It's not that there's a lack of Democrat voters, it's just the people who would normally vote are not coming out. But anyway, that's all I got. I got to get my workout, and I got to go shopping, get baby supplies, and get back to parenting, and then do my job today. Take care, and we'll see you.